Hi, my name's Rick. I am not a physician. Everything you hear here is my opinion and relates to my own experience with type 2 diabetes. So some of you have been following what's been going on with Bruce Willis, a very much beloved actor by lots of people, and if you've been following that closely, then what's going on with him, then you know that his family came out and said that he has type 2 dementia. Or, not type 2 dementia. He has dementia. And the thing is that if you have type 2 diabetes, you are 60% more likely to develop dementia later on in life, or if you are unfortunate and have a certain type of genetic predisposition, then you're really at increased risk. And this would be, I did my research in the area of Alzheimer's disease, and one of the things, we looked at the things that increase the likelihood that somebody would have or develop dementia. And one of the things we looked at was weight and your status as far as having type 2 diabetes or not. And if you have type 2 diabetes, you're just, like I said, 60% just on a broad scale in meta-analysis, about 60% more likely to develop dementia in the future. And so it's really important to control your diabetes, as I'm trying to control mine. Now, right now, I just had a doctor's appointment this morning, and I am technically 1/10 of a point away from having my diabetes under control. So I'm doing much better. I've improved my numbers, and it's been a struggle to get my diabetes under control. Now, with Bruce Willis, the reason I bring him up is because I personally believe that for diabetics, the reason why dementia is more likely is probably more the case with infarct dementia, which is whenever you have an infarct, it is the restriction of blood flow to other critical organ structures within the body. And as you get further away from the heart, the parts that are more distal, the hands and the feet, for instance, are the areas where you're going to feel the effects of diabetes eventually, because it'll start killing off your nerve endings, and you get numbness, which I have in my right hand, and less so in my left hand, and in my feet. And this is why, one of the reasons why people get sores and that don't heal well, because there's just not good blood flow going to the area where the sore is, and also because you'll step on things and not notice that you've cut your foot. And so whatever you stepped on, a piece of glass, whatever, it will just embed into your foot and create an abscess. This is why you have to be really careful with your feet when you have type 2 diabetes. So infarct dementia is something that we really have to worry about. And like Bruce Willis, who has frontal temporal lobe dementia, it'll eventually affect our ability to make judgments, and of course our short-term memory will go to crap. Now, dementia, if you think about dementia, it's like an umbrella, and then all the other diseases, all the dementia type diseases are down below, which would be Korsakoff syndrome, which is alcohol related, alcohol caused induced diabetes. You have infarct, you have regular Alzheimer's disease, which is more a product of your status on an allele called the APOE4. If you have multiple markers on that allele, you're going to get what's called familial dementia, which is what I think Bruce Willis has. And because he started experiencing symptoms of mild cognitive impairment when he was in his probably his early 50s. People said they had been noticing it that long that he just was not going to be able to remember lines, and he had an earpiece where somebody was feeding him the lines, and he was saying, it just shows what a brilliant, intuitive actor he was, because he was able to really pull it off. And then, despite the fact that he didn't know what was going on, there's a funny story where he says, I know why you're here, and I know why you're here, but what am I doing here? And so this was on a movie set that he was involved with. And since he charged, it was about $2 million for 2 days of his time, they were very careful about making sure they got a full day's work out of him, and it got more and more difficult toward the end. He just was not able to pull it off anymore, and so his family pulled him out of public view, and he's had to retire. So anyhow, I wanted to talk also. I wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to talk about how important sleep is. Getting enough rest. So as you guys know, I wear a regular watch. I used to wear an iWatch, but I don't anymore because I hate the way they look. And then I wear the Whoop device. Now Whoop is really good at measuring certain kinds of things. You can use it to, like the watch, you can use it to measure your performance during exercise. You can use it to get a really good idea of what your overall metabolic functioning is at, and that's critically important. But the most important difference about Whoop is that it stays on 24 hours a day. So, and when you want to charge it, there's like a separate little battery that you slide over the top of it, and it charges it on your wrist. So you never take it off. I never take my Whoop off. And so it's getting a constant stream of data about how I'm doing metabolically. And I have complaints about its performance in some respects. However, the thing that really is great is the thing that it really does well is measure my sleep performance. So when I go to my Whoop app on my phone, it tells me how I did in terms of sleep performance. So my sleep performance last night was 100%. But the 2 nights before that, I did terrible. My sleep performance was 67% the night before, and 25% the night before that. Now, when I first began studying neuroscience, I had a professor that said that you don't make up for sleep, and that's not true. What happens is, he thought he was right. He was being sincere, and he wasn't a stupid man by any stretch. It's just that we know now that the data doesn't reflect that. That when we don't get enough sleep, we go into what is called sleep debt. And that affects our overall performance and how we handle life in general. So, get enough rest. Because if you get enough rest, you stave off dementia, because it's very critical. There seems to be a relationship between development of dementia and not getting enough rest and being too stressed. Because really, when you're not getting enough rest, a lot of times that's a byproduct of being overly stressed. In other words, like you're laying there trying to sleep and you can't get to sleep. And that affects your brain and how well it functions. So anyhow, that's it for today. And I will see you sometime soon.